You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different, man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're dreaming. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? They don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just fake it. Nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore, I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds, talking out loud so proud. You better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more speak out. It's about to hit south. You're never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back?
Alright, fuck it. Because the chat wants to be a bunch of assholes. Alright, fair enough. There you go. Chat says no more music. No more music. That's fine with me. Alright. What's going on? We're gonna have a little bit of talk about, well, I want to talk about music. I want to talk about the Kung Flu. I want to talk a little bit about the Democratic Party and the nightmare that is the crumbling of that party. It's done. I mean, really. What's left of them? They're done.
Oh, I think it's hilarious.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're enjoying every second of it. But
You're damn right I am.
But when it comes to music, all right. We came in with a rap song there. Hey, let's talk a little bit about rap. All right, look at the general landscape right now. You got what? MGK, Eminem fighting. You got a bunch of people coming out against Yellow Wolf. Eminem drops a new album. It goes what? Triple platinum in 2 weeks, right? Like pretty much.
There's an ignorant fucknut in your chat that says I got pregnant with a three-way, or from a three-way with a donkey, which is...
So, wait, is he calling your old man a jackass? Is that pretty much what's going on?
Nah, he always says that.
Nah, he just wants to... He wants to play games. Let the little monkey boy on the show. I want to play with his head.
Well, no, and Pinoy did give us a $2 super chat. I do
I
want
don't
that
give a
known.
fun fuck how much money he
He
gave you.
says, "What up, bro? What up, bro? I just wanted that out there. Thank you
I don't
once
care.
again for the donation. If you want Pinoid in here, dude, I'll send him a link. I'm sure he's not afraid to click on it and rip you a new
Oh, I
asshole.
know he's not afraid to click on it. Let the little monkey boy come play with me, please. I want to play with the monkey boy. I've been drinking for a while, you know I have.
No, Sherardi blows
Let
homeless
him.
guys in Toledo. Why Toledo? Of all fucking places.
Let the monkey in.
Okay, all right. StreamYard link is now in the chat. Okay, but no, let's talk a little bit
Come
about music.
play, monkey boy.
Doku. You get what I'm saying. You have a
Are you
landscape out there.
afraid? Are you
You,
afraid of the little girl?
nobody's afraid of you, Sherardi. Anyway.
You're afraid of me, which is why your wife got after you earlier today for ignoring me.
Leave my wife out of this. Anyway. Okay, so check it out.
Besides, your wife wants me to yell at him.
No, he said he's at his girl's crib. He can't. But no, Doku. So check it out. You have, Keenan and Kel. Yeah, you have that dumb motherfucker coming at white people in rap. Are white people allowed in hip hop? Are we guests in hip hop? Because, dude, who would I be if I looked at a black guy and said, "You're a guest in country"? You're a guest in country music. How dare you even come over here? You know what I mean? Isn't that
Dude,
messed up?
what do you expect from people who literally their entire existence, their entire identity is based around it, ethnicity, race, religion, whatever the fuck you want to call it? Like, this is the reason I can't stand rap. I can't stand the fucking community surrounding it. Is because it's always about bitches, hoes, what you did as a young, stupid fucking kid, and then race. That's all they fucking care about. They make the YouTube drama fucking assholes look rational and well grounded. Like, fuck you. Like,
You mean like Pinoid, who makes his whole career around, I must pretend to be black. I must pretend to be black so that I can make my career.
Hey, he just likes fried chicken. All right, there's nothing wrong with that. I like fried
chicken is good.
Well, this is going to come off as fucking insanely racist, but like one of my new favourite things to do is watching black people getting the Queen on YouTube, because I initially thought like they wouldn't be into that shit, and like with the the release of the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, there's been a lot of black people reacting to Queen songs, and it's usually the same thing, like especially with the song Bohemian Rhapsody, they start getting into it. It's like, yes, yes, so real, and you think they do the head cock and they're like, oh, okay. And sort of like, yeah, give it a minute. And then by the end of it, they're like, yeah, fuck, is that it? Oh, shit, I got to get into more of this. And like, it took me a little bit to figure out, but like, hang on, nah, Freddie Mercury did a lot of like the rhythm and blues and, gospel and, it even sounded like Elvis, which is supposed to be like the white black singer and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, they'd be getting into it. So it's like I'm really enjoying these videos where like black people are getting into things like that, and they're like, yeah, welcome to my world, guys. Fucking have a seat, have a beer, get comfy, enjoy this shit.
Have you noticed that starting in the early 2000s, a lot of people that were big in the rap and hip hop scene, they got big into like old school rock, and then they got into metal. Post 2010 or so, they started to get into techno, and you started to see that those influences get incorporated into rap and hip hop increasingly more and more and more, and no one complained about it. It's like, dude, cool, you actually enjoy the same thing I enjoy. It boom, pop, like pop a chair, sit down, have a seat, drink a beer. Let's actually enjoy some good fucking music.
Yeah, fucking.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. Here's where I'm coming at it. Okay, so check it out. You're a guest in hip hop. Why? Because you're white. What if I look at what's his fucking name? God damn it. He sings the song. Oh my god. I can't remember his name. Dave something. He's a black guy. He sings country music. What if I look at him and go, dude, you're a guest in country. How dare you even be here? What are you doing? You ain't a good old boy. Where's the Confederate flag? What's up?
Just on what Doku was just saying, yeah, one of my favourite Ice Cube songs is Body Counts in the House, and that's just got fucking heavy metal guitar in the back and all this kind of stuff. And the only songs, like the only words to the song is Body Counts in the House. Or Body Count. Yeah.
Well, no, and I'm not trying to be racist here. What I'm saying is if you turn it on the other side of the coin, I would be a piece of shit. But nobody's looking at these guys like they're pieces of shit. It's just okay. We're just a guest in hip hop. No, we're not. Sorry. First off, R&B and rap comes from the blues. The blues comes from jazz. Jazz comes from rock and roll. Where did rock and roll come from?
I just realised I said Ice Cube when I meant Ice T.
Well, no, but where does rock and roll come from? It comes from bluegrass. It comes from country. Guess what? You're all a guest in my house at this point, right?
Well, that's the thing. Music is music. It's not this, it's a cultural this and that. Well, aren't you the same people that are sitting there talking about tolerance and, wanting to share cultures and we need more diversity and everything? The same people that sit there and say, well, you can't do this because it's cultural appropriation. Pick one or the other. Like, for you to sit there and say,
thanks, I'm good. And happy leap year, everyone. You get an extra day on me.
That coming wrong.
Leaving that alone. Totally leaving that alone.
But no, here's my point. You can't sit there and say
Except
that you
for
want
the
to be
Australian.
tolerant. You can't sit here and say that you're tolerant and you want more diversity. Diversity is our strength, while also the same time that you see somebody doing something and then screech cultural appropriation. Like, that's bullshit. And to be blunt, you guys are the racist, bigoted assholes in the entire group, not us.
Well, okay, so Eminem came out in an interview and said, I am a guest in hip hop. I shook my head.
He's wrong.
He is wrong. And dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? You built your career on being the edgy guy in the corner. And now you're just giving up? You're just going to pack it in? Like, you're going to be Steve Shives at this point? What happened to you, Marshall? What happened to you, Marshall? What's up?
Well, I suppose when you got the fucking Paul brothers with their shit ass fucking raps, aimed at fucking 10-year-olds and stuff like that, that really sort of like, yeah, you white cunts can fuck off now.
That's the thing. It's all just pandering. It's all bullshit, because as long as you're on the, what's the term they like to use? Oh, I remember. As long as you're on the right side of history, ironically enough, right side of history, it's perfectly okay when I do it, but when you do it, it's bad because you don't share the same opinions. You don't think the same way I do. You don't look the same way that I do. I could sit here and go ahead and I could do a fucking really crappy freestyle rap. Does it mean that I'm culturally appropriating something? No, dude, I can sit here and talk right now and we could fucking put it to a beat and it could be a fucking rap song and you're going to sit there and talk about how I'm fucking bigoted and racist while you're going to turn around and fucking say the same thing to me, but it's free for you. Okay. Did I just culturally appropriate something? Is it bad for me to do that because I'm white? Because that's what you're saying.
If that's the case, then I'm writing it. Me writing poetry is writing raps if you put a beat to it.
Yeah.
No, you have a point there. Matter of fact, how dare you? You're a guest in poetry, Sherardi.
How dare you?
White people started that shit. Black people just put a beat to it. They're the one who stole from us.
And then if you have a look at it, beats are basically samples of other songs anyway, so the whole fucking thing's been ripped off.
Well, the thing is, there are differences amongst instruments and sounds and things amongst different cultures, but music is not mutually exclusive to a single fucking culture. All cultures have had fucking music in one way, shape, or form. It's not mutually exclusive, so get off your fucking soapbox, you ignorant, pretentious fuckhead.
So what if the black rapper uses Kodo drums in their beats and all this kind of stuff? That's all Japanese stuff there. So was it cultural appropriation against the Japs? Oh no, fuck the yellow guys. That's right.
Well, no, and here's the thing too, right? Doku has a point. I mean, okay, so I step in and what if I do karaoke and I'm doing a
that's
Everlast song. I'm doing Everlast, right? So jump around. You know what I mean? Old school white boy music. Is that cultural appropriation? Because House of Pain was an Irish band.
Yeah, it is cultural appropriation because karaoke is Japanese to begin with. So
yeah, empty. What is it? Empty orchestra, I believe.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. So no, all cultures have their own unique take on certain things, but there's so much overlap at this point in time. Like, for you to say that something is mutually exclusive to one culture, and don't conflate culture with ethnicity. People from Congo are not the same as people from Nigeria. Don't dare. It's sort of like saying someone who's Mexican is from El Salvador. It'll really piss them off. But no, it's not a mutually exclusive thing. Music is not mutually exclusive. For you to say that it is, that kind of makes you, the bigoted one. That kind of makes you the dick in the conversation.
Okay, fair enough. Sherardi, how drunk am I? I'm on my third beer. I'm all right. I'm not that drunk. Okay. Second, here's the thing. If you want to look at cultural appropriation, look at rock and roll. Rock and roll was a southern thing. It came from America. Okay, it rose up out of country music. And that's where the spark came. But then you had the British invasion. Were they appropriating our culture? I mean, maybe. But they did great. Like, do I want to give up the Rolling Stones and the Beatles? No. What the fuck?
But yeah, it's a ridiculous double standard, and it's so blatantly fucking obvious. Like, you can't sit there and tell me that you're just a guest in hip hop. Okay, I'm a guest in hip hop. Doesn't that make you the person who is everything that you claim to hate? Doesn't that make you the one who's trying to exclude, trying to get rid of something? Like, it makes you look like a selfish asshole.
I wish that I wouldn't get copyright. I would get a copyright strike, so I'm not gonna play the song. But Mises does a song. Yeah, I'm a guest, you a host. Learn your place, bitch. Damn right. What's up?
No, I love that. That's funny. That's good.
I just love it. It just occurs to me that no one's ever tried to do a remake of anything that Yothu Yindi have done. So it's like, yeah, it's cultural appropriation. Like, don't touch the Aboriginal music though.
But let's dig into that. So Mises says it. He goes, "Yeah, I'm a guest, you a host. Learn your place, bitch. What's up? Are they gonna host us, or are they gonna throw us out? Because they're trying to throw Yellow Wolf out. Eminem is putting his tail between his legs. I mean, what the fuck's going on here? It's like the world's ending. It's ridiculous.
Well, it is the Kung Flu.
We'll get to that later. And no, here's the interesting thing though. If you look at it, okay, let's say we're all guessed. This is we'll just use rap since that's the example we're going with. Not even hip hop or R&B, but just rap. All right, so only people of a certain skin tone are allowed to actually be rap artists. You know what's going to happen? It's going to happen the same way it does to all these other fucking anything that gets touched by the progressive ideology. It's going to lose innovation, it's going to lose its core audience, and people are going to feel excluded. It'll be exactly like the fucking Harlequin and Birds of Prey movie where all right, fine, we're not going to go see it, we're not going to spend our money. You want to exclude us? Fine, exclude us. It's going to crash and burn. It's not going to evolve, it's not going to change, nothing new is going to come of it. And the second that fucking happens, all these people who wanted to exclude everyone because, well, you're just a guest here. Well, when the guests decide it's time to go home, you're going to be bitching that nobody's fucking sitting there supporting you.
Well, no, that's a point that I haven't brought up. Who buys rap music? I could tell you. Do you really want to know?
White people.
Want to know?
Fucking white people.
Yep. That's who buys it. Yeah, that's right. So we're the guests, huh? I thought we were the one paying you.
Yeah, I'm the customer, and the customer is always right. So if you tell me I'm a guest, then I can perfectly happy taking my wallet, walking out the fucking front door, and giving you the middle finger. Have fun.
Who buys
Yeah,
it?
no, exactly. I mean, there's no way around it. They're shooting themselves in the foot and laughing about it. It's ridiculous. It really is.
It's not even ridiculous. It's stupid. I mean, this isn't even a case of you can't see the forest for the trees. This is a case of pretentious self-righteousness that you want to soapbox and pander to things because no one cares about your personal politics. Nobody cares about your skin color, ethnicity. Nobody cares about your religion. Nobody cares about it. They just want to listen to fucking music. It's entertainment. If you want to piss off your customer base, okay, go ahead and piss off your customer base if that's more important to you because you care more about politics and your own personal identity. But don't come crying to everyone when you're the one, as you said, that shot yourself in your own foot because you have no one to blame but yourself. It's not our fault. It's yours. Take fucking responsibility for it.
Well, no, and so Farty, what is the music scene over in your edge of the world? So India, the call center. What do you guys listen to?
Fucking well, you got people like me who like we do like mostly rock music and stuff like that, and you got people like my brother who are into techno, and it's not EDM, it's actual proper European techno and stuff. There are a lot of your wiggers who like their rap music and stuff like that, and they're rather pathetic. But yeah, that's mainly the three main sort of sources of music.
So when you're talking rock, heavy metal, old school like 80s hair bands, what type of rock?
Well, so like there is some sub demographics with that. Like there's pub rock, which is like things like Cold Chisel and Leonard Skinner and the Eagles and things like that. And there are people who like their thrash metal and all this kind of shit. Punk rock's actually also pretty big. He made us in jail. He's in the punk rock scene and all that kind of stuff. But that's mainly a lot of underground stuff. So.
And how's it going, MC? How you doing tonight?
Forgot to unmute. No, it's going all right. I just hopped in. You want to talk about politics, so I was decided to hop on in.
Yeah. No. We're talking about music right now. And kind of cultural politics. Being injected into music, and then we're gonna move on to.
Eventually, he's gonna talk about the coronavirus.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to the Kung Flu here soon. And then we dig right into the Democratic Party, because why the fuck not?
Okay. Then I'll let you continue with your cultural appropriation speech.
Well, I know you're not a fan of rap. That's not your thing. But right now, rap really is in flux. You have kind of a fight going on, which is almost like a race war. Like, it's getting kind of crazy. You have the white boys being thrown out of rap, being called guests, but you have that happening at the peak of hip hop, like the peak of the rebel flag waving fucking white boy rappers. They're peaking right now. You have Adam Calhoun, you have Yellow Wolf, you have all sorts of guys that are doing great. Tom McDonald, fucking, what's his goddamn name? Dude that was with Katie Noel for a while. Goddamn fucking Upchurch. Yep, thank you. My daughter helped me out. Upchurch. You have him. You have the Lax. You have Moccasin Creek. You got all these guys coming up. And as soon as they start to come up and peak, now suddenly the Dr. Dre's and the Ice Cubes are going, yeah, white boys, get the fuck out. I wonder why. You a little nervous? You know what I mean?
Well, what do you think? What do you think they created the? What do you think they created the music for? Right. What do you think they created the music for?
So are you saying that we are a guest in their music?
No, I'm
are
saying
you on their side on this one?
On their side? Somebody who absolutely despises the genre because of what it was created to do. All right, it was created to be divisive. The music was created to be divisive, to sit up there and show we're strong, we're powerful, we're not going to be kept down. And it was when that became popular within a quote unquote certain segment of the urban population, then several individuals, all right, saw this as their meal ticket, their way to always exploit the situation. And then you ended up with some people coming in that come in there that like good old Mathers, all right, and everyone talks about how wonderful he is and how great, he's a great artist and a great rapper, and he's doing the same thing, and his music is exactly the same as the original crap, right? Where they were just, well, I'm against the man. I'm going to sit up there and talk about what life is like in reality, and unfortunately for them and for many people, the life that they were talking about, it's not reality. It's another distorted version of what they're seeing around themselves, and they've never accepted it.
Marshall Mathers is a moron that people want to worship just because he's popular. Just like Sigourney Weaver, just like Don Lemonhead, just like all these famous YouTubers.
So there's a lot of agreement. I would agree with you on that. There's Shorty.
It's
okay, but you have
stupid.
You have other artists like Everlast, House of Pain. People like that came in with a different slant. You know, they had a different style, they had a different sound. Jump Around sounds nothing like Fuck the Police. You know what I mean?
Well, the genre then expanded where people started saying, okay, I can be a part of this, I can do this as well. All right, from that perspective. But the reality is in my opinion, they do more stealing of music than actually creation of music. Now, you can say that it's transformative, and I would agree. I would tend to agree with that statement that it's transformative. But they're really just building onto the giants of people that did things far better all right, than they did. Now, does it take talent to do some of the things that they do? Yeah. Is it the same kind of talent though of a singer or a songwriter who writes songs? I don't think so. All right, it's different in a way. All right, but let's be honest. The whole genre was created along the lines of I'm against the establishment and a rebel against the machine and look at all this goes. But it wasn't. None of it. Show me an uplifting rap song. The closest you can get to a quote unquote fun rap song, all right, goes back to the Beastie Boys, and we have the right to party. That's the closest they came.
Sugar Hill Gang.
No, Tupac, Dear Mama. That's an uplifting song. It's about some drama, obviously, but
how's it uplifting?
That's an okay song.
It's an okay song. Is it uplifting? No, I would not say that that's an uplifting song. You and I have a different view of what's uplifting.
So you're more okay. Look at rock and roll. Let's talk about Guns N' Roses. Okay. Welcome to the Jungle. Is there anything on Appetite for Destruction that could be considered uplifting? That's a grunge, really. Down and out freaking album.
There's a lot that were like that. There were a lot like that. Take a look. If you want to bring up something instead of bringing up them, you should have brought up Nirvana, which is basically just nihilistic shit.
Another one, Jazzy DJ Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Summertime.
No, Farty, you're right.
Or Sublime.
Right,
I mean,
but that doesn't define the entire rock genre now, does it? Those are elements within the rock genre. If you take a look at the entire...
that's true. But then, I mean, what else do we got? We got Green Day. We got Rob Zombie. We got Metallica. I'm not finding anything entirely uplifting from the 90s and early 2000s, dude.
Well, because you're ignoring the entire hair band part of that aspect, where there's a lot that were in there. The whole Bon Jovi set was the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
fucking Poison. Was that you sang "She's My Cherry Pie"? Fucking.
Every rose has its thorns, or whatever. Yeah.
Motley Crue, "Kickstart My Heart." Well, I know that's all about drugs, but still, it's fucking mad when they rock out to.
No, but not Motley Crue, but Meatloaf, fucking By the Dashboard Lights. That's a good song. I wouldn't say it's uplifting. It's about sex in a car, but it's a good song.
So it's Bad Out of Hell, pretty much. It's a one nice thing. But the Guns N' Roses song "November Rain," that's actually, if you listen to all the words, it's actually about a bloke not getting a root and having a cold shower.
Well,
sorry, what's the video you just shared? Because I just see the link. Because I don't think you have mod status. Jensen had me take that away from everybody.
She's got a screen.
I do.
You have a wrench?
Of course I do.
I gotta change that. Who gave this bitch a wrench?
You did. Jensen made you give it back to me.
Never mind. Okay, no. I'm gonna make the joke. Yeah, I'll give it back to you.
No, but what I'm talking about with rap going further, rap went a hell of a lot further than from a genre perspective, and it became an isolationist kind of a thing, and it's been that way for a while. Why do you think that if you want to know what the culture was going to happen with the culture, all you had to do was to see what was that this what you're calling a schism happening in rap. This was coming for a long time. All right. All you had to do was just listen to sports talk radio. You would have seen this coming for a long time.
That was a good song. Schism by Tool.
Nothing Tool did was good.
Yeah, I'm not
I
a big
liked
Tool
that
fan,
song.
actually.
Just like
but
I
no.
liked this song that I posted by Yusei Teikoku.
Well, MC, I think the point that you're getting at is with the way that rap music, specifically gangster rap, very, very, very late 80s, but really coming into its own in the early to mid 90s. It was a way to propagate self-induced victimhood and justify it.
And what's more, it was a way of those individuals who are claiming that they were just speaking truth to power. All right,
No,
just like listening to.
I don't buy that.
You don't buy that?
I don't.
Take a look at Dre's freaking comments and so forth about how they were speaking about the Rodney King riots, and that's what they were trying to get people to understand. That these things were happening, and it's like, okay, let's talk about Rodney King. The problem is you can't talk about the Rodney King riots. Why? Because there's only one side you can take. There's only one side that's allowed to be heard. You cannot sit up there and take that video of the Rodney King beating, and he got beaten, all right, by the police, and you cannot pull it apart and sit up there and do it with somebody without somebody getting emotional about the entire thing, saying, look how evil this is. And it wasn't. This was all racially motivated. No, it wasn't all racially motivated. Could race have played a part? I'm not going to deny that race can play a part in those things.
No, I'm gonna no.
But was that the only demarcation? No, it wasn't.
Well, no, MC, I'm gonna back you up on this one. And hey, I'm gonna sound an awful lot like the guy from American History X right now, and I don't give two shits. Guess when they turned on the video recorder? Right after Rodney King made the move. Right after he got thrown to the ground. Right after he started to get assaulted. They didn't show what really happened before then, did they?
That's what everyone on Lively keeps saying too. Like every time some black kid gets shot or something like that, and you see the coppers hanging around, and it's like, oh, the cops just shot him in the middle of the street. And he's like, no, let's see what happened before that. Or the same thing with when a woman gets her head kicked in. It's like, yeah, but what was she doing before that? And you get another piece of video where she's like trying to beat up a fucking 7 foot tall person that's like 6 times her size, and it's like, okay, she fucking deserved it. But here's another song from the 90s that's uplifting and all this kind of stuff from the rock era and all this. And MC, this would probably mean a bit to you as well. The Scorpions, Gorky Park.
Actually, that was one of the few ones, and I hate the Scorpions.
Well, I hate Neil Diamond. So it is what it is.
Well, so, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Neil Diamond either. All right, but
I'm with Leonard Skinner. A Southern man don't need you around here anyway. Go fuck yourself.
That was at a different time frame.
That was Neil Young, actually, not Neil Diamond, but yeah.
Well, it's Neil Young, yes, but Neil Young, that's a that comes from a different time frame and a different thing that was happening throughout the nation. All right, and how even that got exploited. I'm going to be real blunt with people. All right, there are bands out there that became famous and overly rich, and were also just really what they were was production, and nobody will admit to it. No, well, Europe to an extent,
Journey?
Radiohead to an extent. Journey, no. Journey had an interest, a complete sound of its own. All right, but what I'm talking about is like the Beatles. The Beatles were more about production than they were about actually great music. Their music was okay, but the reason everyone remembers them so much and so fondly has literally nothing to do with their friggin' music and everything to do about how they were making themselves celebrities by going to the Bangladesh beach in India and the little sleep in with Yoko Ono in New York. It had more to do with that than anything else.
Well, no, you have a point, because, like, look at a band like Bon Jovi, right? They went really poppy, right, in the 90s and 2000s. They really went to the pop end of the genre. But before then, John Bon Jovi worked at a radio station. and he slid his demo tape across the desk, and they played it, and he popped. He did that. Richard Sambora didn't do that. You know, like, nobody did that but him.
And in the 90s, though, Bon Jovi got really fucking dark. Like, you know, some songs like My Guitar Lies Bleeding in My Arms and stuff like that. That's
I love
a real
that
good
song,
fucking depression
dude.
song.
I love that jam. Bon
There's Hey
Jovi,
God.
Bon Jovi is my mom's favorite band, so I grew up listening to them, dude.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that jam. It's My Life in early 2000s. That was a great song. Always, that, like, if I want to play a love song, you know, and hang out with my wife and play a love song, I play Always, you know, or
check
Bed of
out
Roses.
the These Days album, and that's fucking dark as fuck. Like, when you listen to everything that's been said, there's not really a happy thought in that at all. But yeah, my favourite song from Bon Jovi is Keep the Faith.
Oh, dude, that's old school. Like, that was right around, what, 88 when he first
Something
came
like that.
out?
Yeah, Living on a Prayer and all that shit.
Yeah, that was their first album.
Slippery When Wet.
Yep.
Slippery When Wet's not their first album, but it is their most popular album. Slippery When Wet is the one that turned them into pop icons. I was in the military when that happened. When they popped up, and I was like, well, okay. Some of their songs are fun, and I can't deny that.
No, real quick, Bobby B here. Bobby B, Mad Dog should be embarrassed about liking Bon Jovi, as I am embarrassed for liking Meatloaf, who happened to be my mom's favorite, or one of them.
No, the only thing you should be embarrassed about with Bon Jovi at the moment is how he's gone and done bloody Harry's fucking concert for free. Oh, John, you shouldn't have done that.
Well, no, and hey, Bobby, dude, Meatloaf was my grandma's favorite band, and Bon Jovi is my mom's favorite band. So, like, you're right on point. I got nothing. He's got a point. I am a little embarrassed.
Dude, no one in my family likes Meatloaf. At all.
Meatloaf had one really good song.
The Dashboard Lights one, right?
Nope.
I mean, that's the one everybody knows.
No, 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad is his best song.
The only good one is I Would Do Anything for Love, only because they used it as a punchline in the Spice Girls movie where, like, the toilet and the bus got blocked up, and they're like, I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
All right, Doku, anything else you want to talk about when it comes to music, or do we move on to Corona-chan?
I got nothing to add.
I realize,
19.
I'll be honest with you, my views on music are not something that anyone should take to as being gospel or indicative of anything except for my view. All right, simply because I'm not very eclectic when it comes to music, to be honest. You know,
Bobby B, Paradise by the Dashboard Light is better. Yeah, see? You know, I got some backup in the chat.
and he's as wrong as you are.
It's your damn channel. Of course you have backup, you dumbass.
Nobody asked you, woman.
MC's
Does anyone ever ask me?
Yeah, MC's caveat, and he came around because he's about to reveal that his actual favourite band is S Club 7.
I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of S Club 7, so no.
Sure.
Oh, what about Ozzy Osbourne? That's your jam, right?
Paranoid.
My
like
husband
the bat.
hates Ozzy.
Crazy Train is pretty damn awesome. I must admit that.
Paranoid. That's a good one.
Paranoid is okay.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed a lot of Alice Cooper's older stuff. Welcome to My Nightmares, probably one of my favorite albums of all time.
Oh, the fucking Poison got fucking, like, the film clip got edited and censored in Australia because there was supposed to be a nude woman in there, and then later on when we got to see the full version, she was wearing clothes.
Yeah, there was never a new. I mean, it's suggestive. I'll give you that. It's suggestive as hell.
Mm.
Well, what about Alice in Chains?
Nah, for some reason, they never caught on with me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the coronavirus. Okay, there is a case in Salem, Oregon. That's fun. Yay.
Where'd they come from?
Well, I think the outbreak, I think it was a Chinese, it wasn't an immigrant, I don't believe. I think it was a tourist that came over that had it. There's 2 or 3 cases in Washington. There's 2 in Phoenix. It's starting to spread, guys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we got one in Brisbane 2 days ago, and she came from Iran. Now, my point is our fucking hospital systems are so shit that I bet you $10 she was sitting in the waiting room for about 4 or 5 hours before she got to see the triage nurse, and they probably didn't cotton on to it for a good long while. So, all right, we'll take some bloods now, go back out to the waiting room and wait the 4 hours for us to do the fucking diagnostics and all this kind of shit. And then they dragged her in and said, oh shit, we got to put you in a bubble now, while she's gone and infected every cunt in the waiting room. And I say purpose, they did it on. Can't trust them fucking
Well,
Iranians.
no, and I'm being quiet because I'm waiting for the rest of you guys. What do you guys think? Do we have an outbreak? Are we okay? What do you guys think?
Well, if
I
nobody's going to talk,
literally
then
just
I'll go ahead and
sent
go.
you a link, Dodge, and I need you to open it.
What are you going to say, Doku?
Yeah, no, so is it highly infectious? Obviously. Yeah. Anyone that thinks it isn't, well, reality is often disappointing. Doesn't mean it's not reality. Is there an outbreak? Well, you look at the numbers and tell me. I do think, though, it is blown out of proportion, and I would be very, very surprised that if somebody can sit there and tell me that this is not as being, or this incident is not being used opportunistically, considering we're in an election year, knowing how much Trump loves to talk about the economy. Remind me of how many Michael Bloomberg ads you've seen on the YouTube videos you've watched. Remind me how much money he's worth. Remind me how much money a lot of people are worth who donate to the DNC. Like, go through and look. Tell me that this is not being weaponized for political purposes. Is it the worst thing in the world? No, it's still not as bad as the Spanish flu. 2 years ago, Ebola was actually worse, but no one fucking talked about it. So is it an epidemic? Is it pandemic? Is it an outbreak? Technically, yes. But is it world ending? Do you need to go run and buy every single piece of fucking pasta that's sitting on the fucking shelf and then sit in your fucking basement with a freaking mask over your freaking mouth and wait for quarantine yourself for 3 months until it blows over and then hopefully the zombie apocalypse doesn't fucking follow it up? No, dude, it's not that bad.
Oh, so I can take the NBC suit off then.
Yeah, is it worth paying attention to? Is it serious? You're damn right it is. It's really fucking serious. Especially if it actually decides to fucking mutate, which means any vaccination process that we're undergoing, well, that just set that back, a couple of months. But is it world-ending bad? No, it's not.
And recently there was a case about a woman who had the coronavirus and got over the coronavirus getting it again. So
Yeah, there is a secondary infection. That's what a lot of people are being killed off by, because the secondary infection is apparently causing a lot of heart attacks.
mhm, yes. So we know that.
You know what else does that? Shingles. This is not, and that's the reason that we need to pay attention to this thing, because it is highly what's the term? Mutagenic, I believe is the proper.
the biggest problem with this disease is that it has a fairly long incubation period and is highly contagious in multiples throughout its entire stage. Okay, that's where the threat of this thing is. All right. Now, as far as how deadly it is, they've confirmed that there's one death in Washington. Okay, and the map that you've got up, okay, does not include the cases from the Diamond Princess when they brought the people over. Okay, so that's where one of the issues are. Now, the cases that they have in California, they say that for the most part they're like, well, we don't know where these are all coming from. That's true, except for the fact that where they're coming from is right located near Travis Air Force Base, which is where the Diamond Princess people and the Wuhan or the people that were in Wuhan when they evacuated, that's where they came into the United States from. So the fact that there is a case in those areas doesn't surprise anybody. The other cases that you see all have some link to recent travel, all right, to China. So the idea that this is spreading across the country right now is just silly. Now, how deadly is this? Is it something to be concerned about? It's the flu. If you don't treat it, if you don't have decent medical care, all right, the people that it really becomes serious with can have problems. But overall, if you're fairly in fairly good health and a healthy adult, it's not deadly to you like it is for the very elderly and the very young. They're the ones at most risk.
Well, and that's the thing. These numbers are outdated. It's a couple of days old. But
I just gave him a more recent updated one for the 2020 of February, recently done on the 6th.
Okay, well, I know these numbers are not 100% accurate because they're 4 or 5 days old, but at the time of the 56 confirmed cases on United States soil, 32 of them came from the Diamond Princess, the cruise ship in Japan. So 36 of the roughly 300 people that were brought back, they had the virus. 14 were not diagnosed prior to getting on the plane, so that number could go up. 4 of the confirmed cases were from people who were directly in Wuhan, and all the rest of the cases were people who were traveling abroad. Is it on U.S. shores? Of course it is. No one's denying that. What we are saying is we do know that these people were traveling abroad. There's a reason that Trump was so freaking pissed off that 14 people were on this plane not under quarantine, because if you go by the CDC and what they said, oh, well, the test we were administering were faulty. So, okay, maybe the CDC is telling the truth. It still doesn't mean that 14 people were now on this plane potentially infecting other people. It's not like we aren't going through a heavy quarantine process, because the United States, when it comes to infectious disease, is a lot better than China about it. I don't care who you ask. If they tell you otherwise, they're either ill-informed or they're lying to you. But we are still quarantining it. We're keeping a really close eye on it. It's not going to spread the same. We're not going to be quarantining the entirety of Chicago and deploying the fucking National Guard. We're not going to let it get to that point. But the media is pretending that we are. If I'm wrong, MC, tell me. But am I wrong in my assessment?
When it comes to the virus itself, I do believe that the United States of America is more able to deal with this outbreak than China is. There's a reason they're locking people up in buildings in China, and we're not doing that in LA. You understand? There's a distinct reason, because we're a first world country and we don't need to do that. Okay?
Well, if you have a population that gets hit, like a transient population that's large, right? This is the biggest fear of where this could spread in the United States is if it hits, for example, the massive homeless shelters in one of these larger cities in the United States. Because then it could spread for quite a while and nobody would even realize it, and it could be at that point it'll be devastating. The other fear, of course, is schools. If it hits a school, okay, so that's mainly because of children. All right. Now, Bobby B put this in. He goes, "It's not like the flu. From what I've heard, the flu is a lot more like a cold. This is causing a lot more respiratory problems." Yes and no. All right. The problem is that if it's not taken care of right away, then it can develop into a type of pneumonia a lot quicker, it seems. But it's, for the most part, the symptoms you have are like the flu. Generally, you'll get a tightness in the chest and congestion, all right, is what people are reporting, all right? Maybe a couple days of fever, okay? But if you treat that, all right, if you keep people hydrated, if you keep them, you keep on it, then it's not really devastating. It's not going to have the kind of mortality rate that you're seeing in some of these other countries. All right. But that's just what it is. Is it perfect? Is there a perfect solution out there? No. But Doku's right in that one of the problems is that the United States we're far more proactive, and Trump has been far more proactive. All right. Mainly because it wasn't really Trump. It was really the CDC. They've been watching this and they've been making recommendations, and for the most part, those recommendations are being followed. All right. The idea that from what the press is doing, though, the press is trying to use this as we want to use this as a club to try and make Trump look bad. This is Trump's Katrina. This is like Katrina for Trump. That's what this is turning, and everyone's looking at them like they're insane.
Well, all you have to do is just throw at them. Yeah, if you think Trump's bad, go have a look at the fucking South Australians. I mean, like, when we started locking down our airports and actually testing everybody coming off flights and shit like that, they were only just handing out pamphlets and hoping that you had the good grace to go to a fucking doctor and not do like what one person did, got off a fucking plane and went to an open house auction. And that basically is a bunch of people standing out in front of the house while they auction it off. And like there's at least 4 cases in South Australia where they have said, yes, there are 4 confirmed cases, but we don't know who they are and where they are. And I'm pretty sure they haven't fucking found them yet.
So that's why I brought up the whole Ebola thing that was going on a year or 2 back, where that was spreading amongst migrant caravans at an extremely rapid rate. You didn't see the media freaking out and fear-mongering the same way they are with the coronavirus, and I would be willing to bet money that's because we weren't in an election year.
Also, one benefit you had with the Ebola crisis is it was mainly secluded in Africa, and you had the benefit there of all the poor people not being able to travel as readily as what, like, say, Chinese or people in Dubai or other countries like that, like Italy. That's the difference.
Well, no, there was like 24 cases in a week in California, just in 1 week, but no one was talking about it. And ironically enough, it was because there were migrants that had managed to make their way to South America, jump on one of these caravans, and they came up into California, and they infected quite a few people. For all we know, it was a lot worse, but you still didn't see the same level of fear mongering that you do with this.
Well, and here's the thing. We have Dade in the chat. Whatever, crybaby. I'm not sure who he's talking to, but you were talking, Doku, when he said that. And then Sherardi, I hope you get it. I'm guessing she's wishing the Kung Flu on Dade. That's kind of rude.
Oh no, I don't fucking give a damn. He says, whatever, crybaby. And I flat out told him, I hope he gets it. I hope he gets the goddamn COVID-19 coronavirus bullshit.
Hey, are you near Osan Air Force Base? I'm just out of curiosity. Because I've been told that you're in South Korea. Are you near Osan Air Force Base?
Incessantly.
And he has the gall to say, knowing me, because he's got an ego like that of the fucking elephant, I'd have a natural immunity to it. Whatever.
Given him by his Lezo daughters, I
Well,
suppose.
well, I mean, who are we to talk about egos around here? I mean, come on. Like, do
Oh,
you know who
I
you're
know
talking
I've got
to?
an ego.
I think
Notice
most
I'm not
people have
talking.
an ego.
Right? I know, like Doku, MC, and I are just looking at each other like,
I have no
totally
room to
no
talk.
ego at all. None whatsoever.
Oh,
Yep,
don't lie
I'm
to
humble as
yourselves.
fuck. I don't know what you egotistical bastards and the one bitch is talking about. I'm fucking humble as shit. What are you talking? What are you suggesting?
And the one bitch, and that one bitch over there. Hey,
The
Becky.
next time you want to talk to somebody, oh, God. The next time
Anyway.
you want somebody to talk to, don't come talking to somebody who will give you something logical.
You know I'm giving you guys shit.
Anyway,
Uh-huh.
the thing that's irritating me is if you've got a legitimate complaint about something, all right, for example, you don't think that the government or the Trump administration is doing something that they should be doing, okay, fine, then tell us what it is. Give a suggestion saying, let's work together toward getting this done. You can always fight over who's responsible after you fix the problem to ensure that the problem doesn't happen again. But what the press has been doing, the press is not giving any suggestions, all right, that haven't been taken by Trump or that weren't taken by Trump before they even came up with the suggestion. All they're doing, what they're doing now is the same thing the Democrats are doing is, you should have been doing stuff better. You should have been further on this. You should be more aware. You just don't like science. And then there's Pence, and Pence is a religious guy, so he doesn't believe in science, so we're all going to die. That's the kind of shit that you're getting, not just from Jim Acosta and CNN. You're getting these things from quote-unquote elected officials like AOC.
Well, I was just going to say, have you noticed that first off, it was as soon as you had the first couple of cases in North America, oh my God, coronavirus is spreading. Containment has failed. Quarantine has been breached. And, well, 10 days later, it's not the press talking about it, but now you see Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and AOC and Ilhan Omar and all the other usual suspects. Now they're tweeting about it, trying to pin coronavirus on Trump, like he hasn't tried to been actually quarantining and preventing the spread of it. It's being weaponized for political fucking purposes. If it were not for the fact that we're in an election year, you wouldn't be seeing this. I would bet you money.
I hope they die of heart disease. I truly do. All 4 of them.
All 4 of who?
The mighty 4 who got to join Congress because of the Young Turks. Ilhan Omar.
She's talking about the squad.
Squad.
Yeah, I hope they
Okay.
die of heart disease.
Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Asazio Cortez.
I don't care about those 4. I really don't. I really couldn't give 2 shits because they don't have 2 brain cells to rub together between the 4 of them. So I really don't care. You know what I mean?
No, between the 4 of them, they have 4 brain cells. Get it right.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. All right. No, we have to deal with this virus hitting the United States. The president is doing his job. The news networks are doing theirs, which is to diss him and tear him down at every opportunity. That's fine. I don't care. Well balanced, right? It's all right. When it comes to politics, we're going to move into the Democratic primary. And we're going to do this by an easy pivot. These guys don't know what they're doing, do they? I mean, look at the primary itself. It's a shit show. This is worse than the Libertarian primary. Are you kidding me right now?
I think I was talking to you about. Sorry, real quick, MC. I think I was talking to you about this dodge the other day. It was amusing to watch them bicker amongst each other, and then the South Carolina debate happened, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I'll be honest, I really did, because it was a slow motion train wreck. They're not even trying to attack the common enemy for them, which should be Trump. No, they're too busy trying to rip each other's jugular out so they can be the one to go up against the big bad orange Cheeto man. They're not doing themselves any favors, and it's hilarious watching them implode. None of them are viable.
No, and can I ask an honest question? Why exactly does South Carolina matter this much to the Democratic Party? Why?
It's a swing state.
No, it's not. Not really. They're not going to win it. They're not going to win it.
Why is it? Because it's coming off of it. It's by itself. It's part of the. It can be part of the news cycle. All right, and in this specific instance, this is a massive win, at least portrayed so far, for Joe Biden. All right, now what does this indicate? It indicates that Sanders isn't as strong as the press has been making him out to be. All right, and there is energy on the Sanders campaign. There's no denying that. However, the energy doesn't transfer across the board. It's not like Sanders can go into South Carolina and have a massive rally. He can go into New York, he can go into California, he can go to Vegas and have big rallies. All right, although Trump can do that as well, but he can't go into places like Omaha, Nebraska, or down in Florida. Even when he went down in Florida, he was very limited. So what you have is you've got a young, youthful core all pulling for Bernie because they've got their freaking heads up their asses and they don't even realize that what Bernie actually is, and they want to make Bernie into the same thing they did with Obama. When Obama got elected, the biggest advantage Obama had was everyone painted onto Obama, all right, what they thought Obama was. Not what he actually was, not what he was actually saying, not what he actually was going to be doing. He was everything and anything somebody wanted him to be. That's who Obama was. Well, the youth have taken that and they've applied that now to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders isn't a Marxist. Oh, he's not a communist. Oh no, he's not a socialist. No. He's this Democrat socialist. He just wants social safety nets. All right. Now this belies decades and decades and decades of the actions and the words directly out of the man's mouths, but we're going to ignore all of that in favor of this is what I think he is. Okay. So the South Carolina primary was something everyone was wondering, can somebody stop Bernie? Well, all of a sudden now you see Biden jump up, and you can also see several other things. One, Buttigieg is gone. Okay, Buttigieg doesn't have a wide area of appeal. Warren should end her campaign today. Klobuchar.
Here's my question, directly to you, MC. What about Tulsi?
Tulsi should have ended her campaign a long time ago.
Really? You think she's out?
She's not even going to get a delegate. What sense does it make? She won't even have a single delegate going into the
Gabbard
convention.
is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in South Carolina. You're right. She isn't going to get a delegate, right?
You need at least 10% to get a delegate assigned to you.
Oh, and also I want to expand on what MC's saying real quick. Is when you saw the South Carolina debate and going into the primary, what they're really vying for and who they're trying to pander to, as far as South Carolina goes, because of demographic makeup, they are looking for the Black African American vote, and that's what. And Biden flat out came out and said it. He has the support of the Black vote. That's who he's trying to get, because it's at this point in time, as far as South Carolina is concerned, it's between him and Bernie. and the majority of the African American vote that votes for people in the Democratic primaries, they tend to be working class people. They're not college yuppies drinking fucking lattes on Sundays. That's what's going to swing the state in favor of either Biden, Buttigieg, Warren, or Bernie.
Gabbard just jumped up 3 spots to 7th with that refresh.
It doesn't matter.
I thought you just said she was 7th.
What she's 1%.
Yeah, she's far away from being able to contest the top 4.
The only one, and what's even more amusing is Steyer, the guy who's in 3rd right now, right? That they're showing 3rd place here, where he could actually pick up a couple of delegates or two. He's dropped out.
Probably a smart move, to be honest.
Well, he was another one of these guys who was trying to more or less self-fund. He was a super rich, billionaire that was trying to, magnify his voice, and he was going for the extreme left-wing vote. All right, and that's a problem. To be honest, that's a problem that Sanders has. All right, it's an advantage and it's a disadvantage, because Sanders is the far left. So when everyone's trying to act like Sanders, they're trying to cannibalize his voting base. The problem is that Sanders is only leftist. He's not able to get the quote unquote so-called moderate vote, all right, within the community. But what this result in Carolina shows is that certain other individuals, specifically Buttigieg or Buttigieg, however you say his name, and I'm not trying to butcher it intentionally. I've never heard him actually say his name, so I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's Buttigieg. It's Buttigieg.
All right. So he however, he flashed in Iowa. He flashed, a little bit of strength in Nevada, right? A little bit of strength in Nevada, and got a creamed in New Hampshire, and he's getting creamed in South Carolina. He has no support in the South. Okay. Sanders is showing no support in the South. He's got tremendous support in the liberal enclaves. All right. Like he'll win California big. Right. But will he be able to do anything else? And his weakness is, you can get the youth, you can get these young kids, but you're at the expense of losing the other Democrats, the older Democrats who are looking at that and they know what socialism is. Okay, he is going to lose if they choose Sanders as their nominee. They're going to lose big time. If they don't choose Sanders as their nominee, you will see the Democrat Party actually come to blows and fracture. It won't be for very long. It's not going to be the kind of schism that lasts very long, because that's just who the Democrats are. But it will make it an easy run for Trump. The question at that point, though, isn't going to be what the effect is on running against Trump, because quite frankly, I don't think at this point in time, I don't think either candidate can beat Trump. Things can change. We're a long ways from the actual election. But at this point in time, I don't think either one of these candidates can beat Trump. However,
I'll tell you right now, when it comes to me, myself, and probably my wife, we're not voting Sanders. There's no chance in the pits of hell that we're voting Bernie Sanders.
Well,
There's no fucking way.
And I understand that. There's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people, even if the economy turns sour, they would never vote for Sanders. All right, even within the Democrat Party. But the question is, the big question that the Democrats are asking themselves is, if they select Bernie as their candidate as a throwaway, okay, will that harm us down ballot? Because everyone's focusing on the president, and presidents have coattails generally. Okay, not always, but generally, a president who's winning an election will have coattails, and his party during presidential elections will increase. What
do you think? Do you think I know how you feel about the Libertarian Party. I get you, okay? I understand. But if you look at it from this perspective, aren't the Libertarians just sitting back in the fucking passing lane, just waiting? Right? That's what I would be doing. Just
Why
wait,
wouldn't they be?
wait for it.
Waiting for what?
Waiting for our opportunity. Because the Republicans are going to fade out, and then you're going to have a fight throw down in 2024, right? And then the Libertarians go, look, we're not Bernie Sanders. We're not here to give you free shit. We're also not this guy. We're not here to build the wall. Let's have a talk.
That actually comes to something I wanted to touch on, because I have 2 points. First off, with Bernie Sanders, if he is the nominee, you need to realize that when people go to vote and they look at their ballot, the first name that you see on the Democratic side, if he is the nominee, it's going to be Bernie Sanders. And if you don't like Bernie, most people who just vote straight one way or another down the ballot, you already kind of lost that lemming vote, is what I'm going to call it. You already lost that, which compounds the second problem. If it's Bernie, okay, yeah, you could have the 60,000, 100,000, 200,000 in debt college kids. You can have the hardcore Marxists, the socialists, the commies, the ANCAPs flying their Antifa flag. Yeah, they'll go ahead and vote for Bernie. But you know who you're going to lose? You're going to lose all the business Democrats, which, friendly reminder for everyone, up until just recently, Trump was a registered Democrat. He was a business Dem. He's only going to win, maybe if he's lucky, and I'm being generous, 2/3 of the Union Democrat vote. He's not going to win any of the manufacturing vote. He's not going to win any of the non-union Democrat blue-collar working vote. And he's not going to win any of the old guard neo-lib Dems either. He's not going to win any of that. He's only going to appeal to the far, quote, quote, progressive left.
Yeah.
And
the Green
anarcho-communists.
And the Green Party contingent.
That's actually
he's not getting the Libertarians either. And you call them business Dems, I call them Reagan Democrats. You know, just a difference in terms. That's all.
Well, yeah,
different mentality entirely.
That's actually a scary thing when you look at it from the outside to us, because, well, like, you know, the rest of the world actually is kind of liking what Trump is doing, and then we see Bernie Sanders as someone who's probably going to go and reverse a lot of things that Trump did, and, you know, side with the Greens and all the progressives and all this kind of shit. And he does look like a very fucking weak and meek individual. Like, we don't really take him seriously.
Bye.
And
bye, Charlie. Thanks for coming.
Ta-da. So, like, if indeed he does do that, he's just going to fuck you all up. And the only reason that I can see personally is that he's going to go and do all these things because God told him to, and that's the last fucking thing you guys need.
Well, and I want to
put up
clarify.
Bobby B's comment.
I want to clarify something real quick. When I say business Democrats, what I mean is people who are willing to go ahead and continue to do business as long as their personal interests are taken care of. They can contribute to whatever super PAC that they want. As long as you take care of me, my personal interest, I can continue to make money. Those are the business Democrats.
All right. This is the problem the Democrats have. Okay? Are people like Bobby B. All right? There are plenty of people that were lifelong Democrats. They've been Democrats since they've voted. All right? And they remember, or they come from a family that talks about the good old days. A lot of my uncles were big union people, all right, on my dad's side. And, you know, they were Dems for life, all right? When you start to lose that, though, when you use something to lose that group, you have a problem. Now, why are they losing it? They're not losing it. All right. When you talk about the party mentioned and you guys mentioned the Reagan Democrats. The Reagan Democrats shattered something. People forget Reagan shattered something that the Democrats desperately needed to maintain at that time, and that was the South. The reason he was able to do that, though, had literally nothing to do with Reagan himself. The big turnover, all right, actually happened under Clinton, where when Reagan won, it woke people up to say, okay, not so much I'll vote for Reagan, but I'm not going to vote for the leader. They still voted for the Dems. The Dems didn't lose the House. They only lost the Senate for 2 years. Okay. Their huge majorities went away, but for the most part, the Democrats still maintained the House and the Senate. When Clinton came in, what happened was in the House is you have the House scandal. All right. You have the checking scandal. And it was something that everybody recognized. It was something that was easily everybody could identify, that they could put their minds to it. It was a concept that was readily in there, right there for them to see. These guys were bouncing checks and getting away with bouncing checks that a normal person couldn't get away with. Okay. It was something that everybody understood. And as a result, for the first time, the Democrats lost the House. But they lost the House because faith in the Democrat Party was shaken by who they chose as their ultimate leader for the presidency. And that was McGovern, all right, and then Walter Mondale. That's why this happened, but it didn't happen immediately. People think it happened immediately. It did not. Okay? And the Reagan Democrats were the quote-unquote Southern Democrats, and that's why the South actually shifted. Now, as far as what's going to happen going forward, the biggest fear that the Democrats have is there are a lot of people talking about, like Bobby B., I won't vote Democrat, not I won't vote for the Democrat nominee. There's a lot of people saying, I won't vote Democrat anymore. And it comes from a constituency. A lot of it's coming from a constituency, the black community, that has said, wait a minute here. We're not being paid attention to. We're not getting anything out of this. How many years am I gonna keep on doing this? So they're thinking about voting, not the majority, right? Not even really what you would call a significant minority, but it's a significant minority in regards to whether or not a Democrat can succeed. For example, if the black vote, if 20% of the black vote votes straight Republican, it will be a landslide victory. The Republicans will increase their Senate hold. They will also overtake and take over the House once more, if that's the case. Now, do I expect that to happen? No, I don't. We'll have to wait and see. All right. But that's how dangerous this is for them right now. And the reason is because people are looking at Bernie Sanders and saying, well, okay, you've gone so far down the identity politic line, but what have you ever done for me? Well, you've been in the Senate for how long?
What has he even done for himself? I mean, I don't trust
this
guy
gotten rich
at all.
Oh, he's gotten rich on the public dime.
Yeah, by what? Sleeping on couches? I mean, when did this dude do anything productive ever in the entirety of his goddamn existence? I would like that pointed out, please.
He's been this way the entire time. He's been nothing but a and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to make a lot of people mad. He's been nothing but a parasite.
He's a drain on you and I. He's a drain on my wife. He's a drain on my kids. He is literally the definition of a piece of democratic shit. He is there to leech off of us. I don't want to give you 10 seconds of my time, much less 4 years of my life. Fuck you.
It is what it is. I mean, you're not going to fix any of this way. I mean, the thing is that...
Am I being a little bit harsh? Perhaps.
Right. But with regards to your comment about the libertarians, what do the libertarians stand for?
What does
that
the party
exactly
stand for?
Is my point.
What does the party stand for, or what do I stand for?
I didn't ask what you stood for. I said, what do the libertarians stand for?
See, that's where we get into the argument, right? Because I can't speak for Doku, who's another libertarian. I can't speak for Pinoy.
Correction. I'm a constitutionalist.
Yeah, you're the party that isn't even as good as my party. So step it up.
I could argue that one, but we'll get to that argument later. We just don't have a party.
Well,
what does
not you have a party in name.
for? Yeah, you do actually. There is a constitutionalist party. But if you want to get into the argument, the Libertarian Party right now is in flux. We're split in half. You have the lefty-tarians, the Green Party aspect, trying to take over. And then you have people like me, who are more conservative, paleo conservatives, trying to pull the party back. Pull it back to its center. And we're up in arms right now. We're up in arms, man.
You have no core, and as long as you don't have a core, and as long as you don't have a principle to stand behind, no one's going to sit up there and ever take the libertarians seriously. This is the problem the libertarians continue to have. Okay, now let me ask you a question for everybody here, so people understand something. In order for a third party to actually gain prominence, all right, it has to be able to do something that is very difficult. And that is, it has to offer something that the other two parties are not offering, all right? And they have to have the moral impetus behind it. They have to have some kind of moralistic reign behind it.
Okay, 3 legs on my platform. Okay, free speech, open carry. And I would add the 4th Amendment. Unlawful search and seizure, unlawful stops.
That's, once again, that right there is not going to go anywhere. It isn't going to go anywhere because people are looking at, okay, we already have that. What now? What?
But we don't already have that. They're violating that every day.
Who's violating it?
Local police.
Local police.
Local police are not. Amendment.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
Fight me.
Okay, you can say that they are, but you can't point to a large scale and say that on a large mass scale that's happening. That's not happening in any kind of way that people are number one aware of, and number two they care about. So you have no people are like, okay, whatever, that's not an important issue. It's not a moral issue that people are looking at and saying, hey, this is a huge moral issue. Look at what's happening here. They're not looking at that. Your version, and what's more is your version of that, all right, doesn't correspond to what the average person's view of it is, or even a large majority's point of view is. Because you go so far down that path of the 4th Amendment, trying to say it does things that have been adjudicated by the Supreme Court as not being valid. So you don't have a party.
No, I would like you to point out where I've gone so far as the Supreme Court even disagrees with me. I would like this actually pointed out, please.
Okay, because they take a look at the courts when it comes to the current Patriot Act. They don't have a problem with it, do they? MC for the win.
Yeah, like I just want to take the gloves off and just start boxing.
All right,
that gets me fighting mad. Goddamn.
Am I wrong? You're gonna get
right
right?
The Patriot Act. What's wrong with you, dude? I thought we were friends.
It's not that I don't disagree with much of what you've said about it, but the reality is that this has been adjudicated. There's a lot of court rulings that have come down, right, that I agree with, and a lot that have come down that I absolutely disagree with. But you have to live within that reality. We don't live in a theoretical kind of view. I was having a discussion on Twitter with somebody, all right, where they couldn't understand my points of view on a number of different things. For example, literacy. Literacy is a good. Is it? Is literacy always good? Or is it just a tool? All right. Property ownership. Is property ownership good? Well, it's a tool. It's a social tool. All right. It's neither good nor bad. It depends on its good or badness, depends on whether or not how it's being applied. And really, more than anything else, it's how it's being applied from an individualistic standpoint. Okay, that's how I tend to look at these things. All right, from an overall. But these are social tools. All right, they're just tools. The relative merit of, for example, private property. Okay, well, what is private property? If you're going to talk about property rights, when back in the day of the feudal times, kings owned all the property. You were a serf. Okay, you had no. It wasn't that you didn't own it; you didn't have anything. Why? Because the king owned it all. Was property rights, the respect for property rights, a good thing in that regard, in that kind of an overarching kind of an environment? All right, are you going to say that then is good? This is what I mean. It's things about morality. And this is where, if you're going to create a third party in the country, all right, a viable third party, right, you either do it from a regional perspective where the region focuses on a specific area and coalesces around an issue, like the Grangers attempted to do, all right, or like the GOP did, they coalesced around something that neither one of the two parties were going to coalesce around, which was, in this case, abolition. All right, that's how the GOP was able to sustain itself as a third party and eventually absorbed, all right, the Whigs, all right, because it fractured elements of the other two parties bad enough that it could succeed. But even before President Lincoln was elected, Republicans were being elected to Congress.
Not my president.
He was he's no one of us. No one alive is our president at this point in time. And for you to sit there and go back and like you have an understanding of the dynamics back then is laughable.
Okay. Fair enough. I wasn't alive back then. You're right. But as somebody who is a student of history and has actually sat down and spent a vast majority of my life studying the issue, I do think I have some shit to say on it, my friend.
No, it's not that so you have shit to say on it. You add in your own emotional context, and you can't keep your emotions out of it.
Neither can you.
No, my emotions don't change from my perspective. My emotions come from arguing, all right, and getting in your face. That's a little bit different.
I'll prove the point here. The South lost because they deserved it.
Yeah, okay. I'm kidding, Party.
See, told you, emotional.
I had to. I had to do it.
You can't apply 20th century morality and 20th century, cultural identity, all right, back to the past, especially into the Civil War. You can't do it. We don't live in that time frame. We weren't raised in that time frame. You have to understand that, and so that becomes in and of itself.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you look back at our history, okay, you removed the emotion from your argument. Okay, fair enough. Remove the emotion from the argument of slavery. The United States government had it written into the United States Constitution that this was a legal act. It was legal. They were 3/4 of a human, and it was legal.
3/5.
3/5.
I thought you were a student of history.
3/5. Shut up. I've been drinking. All right. Me and Shardy were day drinking today.
I don't want to know.
Leave me alone. God damn it.
Does Robin know about that?
But no. Here's the thing. Is slavery wrong? The answer is yes. But was it legal? The answer is also yes. So what did the South do that was wrong?
What do you, as far as what? You're already applying a moral context, right and wrong, then, aren't you?
Is separation legal?
Is separation legal? All right.
Yeah.
Is there a
Can I
method?
divorce my wife? Can I leave her?
Yeah, if you go through the process.
Okay. What's the process for divorcing your country?
The process is you got to get the country to sit there and let you go.
Oh, so if my wife wants a divorce and I tell her to go fuck herself, I'm keeping her. I get to keep her?
Yeah, she can go through a process that allows her to go through. But if she doesn't do anything, then yeah, she's still your wife. She has to go through a legal process that's been defined by the societal or social entity now, doesn't she? And you're already conflating, in this case, all right, a state with a personal individual. They're not the same.
How are they drastically different? It's a mutual
Multiple
compact
people
between individuals.
It's not an individual contact between individuals, or you wouldn't have to go to the state, all right, to get it approved. People forget this. The judge doesn't have to grant the divorce. What are you going to do when a judge says, no, I'm not going to grant this divorce? Bang. That's happened. It doesn't happen often. Does it happen often? No, but it does happen. Judges can't do from time to time not grant divorces.
What do you think, Doku? Am I using a bad analogy with a divorce analogy? Because the way I'm going here is a mutual compact between individuals. I'm boiling it down to an individual basis, but the actual context is within a state issue. So all join into a compact together. We're married. We're 50 individual states that married into each other.
Yeah, except you're oversimplifying it, Dodge, because states are still a collective of individuals. If you really wanted to go through the proper process of secession, first off, you need to actually hold a state vote. And again,
We
I'm not
did.
going.
We did.
You're not
That
we.
happened.
You are nowhere near it. You have no reason to use the term we.
There was
The state of Louisiana made a vote, and it left. The state of South Carolina.
No, the
made
state
a
of
vote,
California. The
and
state
it
of California.
left.
No, it did not. It did not sit up there and poll its citizens in a vote.
no. They declared it. There was
No,
not. There was
they
not a
had a
vote, and it
regional
didn't
vote.
go.
They had a regional vote.
No, they didn't.
Hey Google, did South Carolina vote to secede from the Union?
That was their legislature.
According to Wikipedia, when the ordinance was adopted on December 20th, 1860, South Carolina became the first slave state in the South to declare that it had seceded from the United States.
And that's the thing. It was a declaration.
Anything else? Anything else? Any more questions, folks?
There wasn't a vote. You had a legislature decide.
No, the districts voted. It just said it.
It's not what it said.
No, Dodge. Okay, I'm going to interject here. It was not a state vote. It was not brought to the federal government. It was a declaration of secession.
We declared that we were leaving
ask you a question.
said federal
Since you
government,
brought up-
that we entered into a mutual compact with, that we have every right to leave.
Mad Dodge, when you want to bring up divorce, okay? Let me ask you a question. All right, what was the process of getting a divorce in the 1860s? Both sides had to agree to it, or it wouldn't be granted.
What was the process of divorce in 1860 United States?
You didn't say
Here's the
Google.
top search result.
What's the top search result? This is Mad Dodge. It's research. This is what he thinks history is. Ask Google.
Well, so here's the difference.
Hey, first off, fuck you. Second, Marty, blah blah blah.
No, and here's where the argument is, Dodge.
For years, it was considered an issue that was decided upon the governor of each individual state. Not surprisingly, southern conservative states were the last to allow divorce. In South Carolina, divorce didn't become legal until 1949. Wow, South Carolina, holy shit.
All right, so example here. I bit my tongue a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain exactly what's going on. Let's say me and Farty here are married. Suddenly, I want to get divorced, or Farty wants to get divorced. Okay,
Yeah,
we're getting divorced. So all of a sudden we have
when
now
acid trip wears
declared.
off and you wake up next to Doku. Ah, fuck!
So now we have declared that we're getting divorced. Well, that's fine and dandy as far as we're concerned, except the fucking courts, the legal system, everybody else who considers us to be married. It doesn't matter if we say we're divorced or not.
Well, I'm the judge. I'm the judge. Who's giving who the reach around?
Hold the fuck on, Dodge. Hold the fuck on. So what happened with the South is that they declared that they were seceding from the Union. What they didn't do is they didn't actually go through the proper process of secession, and instead a war started over it because the Union said, oh, wait, no, we didn't agree to this. You agreed to the Union. You're going through the proper process of it, and they didn't, and a war started over it. That's what happened. Now, did they have every right to secede? Yeah, they did. It's just they didn't go through the fucking proper process of it, and then a fucking war started because, no, screw you. Your ass is either coming back here and you're doing it the same fucking way that everybody else has agreed to. It's a mutual fucking agreement, or we can go to war over it. And they said, fuck you, we're seceding. Okay, war it is.
As Jefferson Davis said, may it be proper for two states to declare war. Then
that's what happened.
As gentlemen, we can do so. But we are distinctly different and separate entities.
And that's why war is a thing that happened. Because, yeah, you are distinctive and separate entities. So war happened. You can't complain about the fact that a war broke out over it.
I can't complain about the results of said war.
It's kind of a crappy analogy to use the secession of the South as, like, you know, with a divorce, because it's usually the separations start a lot less wars than what fucking divorces do, and I blame lawyers.
Technically not wrong. But no, it is kind of a bad analogy to use divorce because the states are still a collective and there is still a legal process. Like, you could argue that, well, the family is a collective too. Yeah, but it's a family unit. It's not a collective of hundreds, thousands, potentially millions of fucking people.
That's not what I mean, though. The analogy doesn't go to the scale, okay? We're not scaling up. The analogy still applies because it is a mutual compact between individuals. The governor is a president of his own state.
No, but the word was mutual compact, and you only look at one side. Okay, and that's where this whole thing goes. You can't just look at this and say, well, this is a mutual contract, but when one side disagrees with the other side, the contract just doesn't exist anymore? No, it doesn't happen that way.
I get to leave. I don't have to stay in your house. Like, if I'm over there, I'm over there visiting Farty. I'm hanging out. Me and him are drinking a beer. I get to walk out the front door. I get to leave.
No, you don't.
Typically in a separation.
If your wife decides she wants to just walk out, she doesn't get to walk outside the door. If you decide you no longer want to be married to somebody, all right, and you tell your wife to get out of the house, she doesn't have to leave. Okay, you're looking at this from the wrong analogy, and what's more is you're looking at it from a 20th century moral standing that has no connection, all right, to what the 1860s were like. You can't sit up there and take a look at the 1860s and say, well, like a marriage contract. If you tried that in the 1860s, where marriages weren't or divorces weren't even allowed in South Carolina, then how does that state then justify using that analogy? It doesn't work, does it?
So typically in separations, right, the two people can go their own ways, and it's usually more amicable than when you do get the authorities involved and have to nullify a bloody nullify a marriage, because then you've got to, give her half of this, and then he's got to have rights to this, and she's got to have rights to that, and then fights and arguments and shit and war start over that.
Well, let's flip the argument on its head real quick and use an equally inappropriate but somewhat applicable analogy. Okay, you want to leave my house? Cool. You can leave the house. The mortgage is in my name. It doesn't mean you have right to my house.
That's right. Yep.
So, okay, you want to leave. It doesn't mean I have to unlock the door for you every single time you want to come back because I left my clothes here.
You want to take the kids? Well, that's fine. You can fucking fund them.
And so if we want to use,
here's the thing though, Doku. I don't want to come back. I left for a reason. I don't want to be in. I don't want to be in your house. All right? I want to leave. So that's what the South was saying. They were like, we don't want to be here. Fuck you. Fuck the horse you rode in on. Fuck your mom's fucking horse.
They
grandma's horse.
This is what they did though. They said we're gonna leave and we're taking your shit with us.
Mm-hmm.
It was our shit.
No, it wasn't.
Ours.
It was not.
No, because you already. No, because you already.
State property.
No, it was not state property. It was federal property, and you tried to abscond with it. You weren't walking out of the house. You were telling everyone else, "Get out of my house." All right, and then they said, "Well, wait a minute. We own this," and you were like, "No, you don't. We're taking it. We're going to seize it," and that's what the word is: seized.
And that's the thing. It's
all right.
Okay, you want to take your clothes and everything.
I don't know why you were still trying to argue this.
Let's roll with this. I like this. Okay. Yeah, we were trying to what? Seize that little fucking Fort Sumter?
Guess what?
Yeah? You want to talk about Fort Sumter. Okay. Hey, we let you assholes walk out of there, didn't we? We went, hey, what's up?
No, you let them walk out? No, you sit up there at the point of a bayonet, drove them out.
Oh, I have the bayonet now.
Well,
yeah,
you're fucking
right,
you
buddy.
use the royal
fucking
allowed.
right. No, let's get it now. Oh, let's have fun. Let's get it.
Fire.
Oh,
you chose
open fire! You're fucking taking 2 warships up my motherfucking river, crossing through my territory to tell me what to do.
No,
go fuck yourself, Yank. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck your warships. And fuck Fort Sumter.
You see how this goes? Why I'm talking about it? He doesn't want to argue about the logic of it because he loses, and then he just gets emotional, going, "Screw you all! It was ours! It was ours!" As if somehow he himself.
It was our river.
Involved.
It was our river. Why were you there? You knew what you were doing. Lincoln knew. He was playing chess. He was playing chess, and he knew what he was doing.
And you put your rook out there, and eventually got the whole game and got it destroyed. And then what do? They wait hundreds of years later, and then they go, "Well, we flipped the board over. You have to respect us." No, we don't.
No. You know what we did? We whooped your ass at Bull Run, my friend. That's what we did.
What was the flag? what was the final flag?
Hey, you ever heard of Sharpsburg?
What was the final flag? At Sharpsburg, you lost. That was Antietam, dumbass.
Yeah, it's the grand final, not the heat, son.
What happened in Pittsburgh? What happened to Shiloh?
Hey, we won half of Sharpsburg. We won half of Sharpsburg. Fuck you. That's kind of like Shiloh. You can't really say I lost Shiloh. We kind of lost, but we kind of won.
Who retreated from Shiloh?
We redeployed.
No, you ran is what you did.
We redeployed.
You ran just like you did at Corinth. Just like you did at Fort Donelson, and then you stood and had to surrender at Vicksburg.
Hey, we don't talk about Vicksburg. Leave that one alone.
Then don't bring up battles, dummy.
Okay. What happened when
right, Dodge.
good old Stonewall went right around the flank? Huh, buddy? How'd that go?
Dodge.
What
I'm
was
gonna
up?
end this. I'm gonna end this argument. Hold on, MC. Sorry. I'm gonna end this argument really fucking quick because you brought up Fort Sumter.
No, did he just say it got him killed? He did not just say that.
Look,
That's no,
Dodge.
dude.
Dodge.
No, I think me and MC are gonna fight.
Nope. No, you're not, because I'm going to end this argument really fucking quick because I just looked it up. Fort Sumter. In the early 19th century, South Carolina had owned multiple forts, namely Fort, can't pronounce that, Pinckney and Johnson, but ceded them along with sites for future erection of forts to the United States in 1805. They gave them to the United States federal government. It was government property, and it was South Carolina that fired on Union soldiers, driving them out of the fort. It was federal property, not South Carolina state property. If they want it back...
No, first off, the Confederate government came to the Union and said, look, we will pay you for said forts, but you need to evacuate immediately.
The first battle of Fort Sumter began on April 12th, 1861, when Confederate artillery fired on the Union garrison.
Yes, PTG Boulevard fired on them. I'm not going to argue with you.
And just because you're like a mobster holding a gun at somebody, you're going to sell me this, right? Yeah, you're going to sell me this or else, buddy. You're going to sell me this or else. And the guy still looked at you and said, screw you, and you pulled the trigger. That's who you were.
So what? They deserved it.
You know what I mean? So what? So in other words, you started the war. A war
we
you
didn't. Oh, now it's me. Oh, I can't say me, but now it's me. All right.
You ceded ownership of those forts and future property.
Whose side are you on right now? What is wrong with you?
Because there's something called the rule of law, something that apparently libertarians...
Kiss my Louisiana ass, dude.
You mean
are you kidding me right now?
You mean kiss your losing ass because that's what you did.
Yeah, the thing is, at the end of the day, South Carolina ceded ownership of those forts and future sites to the United States federal government. If you really wanted them back that bad, you could have gone through the way that didn't involve firing on the fucking fort. And actually, I am on the side of the South in this one.
The state that
I am on the side of the South
of the Confederacy, and you're yelling at me as if I did.
He's not yelling at you at all. He's pointing out a very simple fact that the legalism isn't on your side. That there is a process, that there is a way.
Wait. We're gonna go into the law. Let's go into the law. Let's go into the law. I'm fine with that. Hey,
and hold on, pause. Dodge, pause.
Wait a minute.
Pause, Dodge. I am on the side of the South because did they have the right to secede? Yes, they did. Did they have the right to take back the forts that they wanted? Yes, they did. But just a few trigger-happy assholes, because they didn't want to go through the proper process, because they were under the impression they were going to get dicked over by the federal government, which could or could not be true. I don't know. We weren't there. We never saw that outcome potentially play out. But they're the ones that screwed it over for everyone, because there were still plenty of level-headed people on the South who still wanted to secede, and that's what kicked off this whole thing, because it was a bunch of fucking emotional idiots.
Like me. I gotcha. And Bobby
I did not say that.
No, and Bobby B says, Mad, have another beer, buddy. You lost 200 years ago. Time to move on, my dude. Okay.
Yeah, your granddad should have fought harder.
No, but hey, I'm gonna throw a left jab right back, buddy. But no, here's the thing. You want to go into history. You want to go into the law. Okay, let's do that. I'm fine with this. Because the federal government wouldn't do this. They wouldn't have this argument. They released Jonathan Davis They released the president of the Confederacy
You even couldn't
on
get Jefferson
bond.
Davis's name correct. And the difference between what people do as far as releasing an individual who, I mean, for example, I'm going to give you. There was a guy in Houston, all right, who they caught him, and they allowed him to plead, or they gave him immunity rather, right, against the murders he committed, so that they could at least put him in jail when they were hoping for 60 years, all right, on the other violations that they had evidence that they knew that they could convict him on. Well, it turns out, all right, now that's what you're dealing with. This guy was killed over 13 people, and they allowed him to sit up there and get immunity for 13 murders just so they could convict him of other crimes like rape. Okay, that has nothing to do with Jefferson Davis being right.
Can I make my argument though before you try and tear it apart before it's actually made? Okay. So
I think I already did that.
Jefferson Davis made the argument that secession was legal.
He can make it. He can believe it all he wants. It doesn't make him right.
You know what does though? The federal government not even.
No, that doesn't make it right either.
No, the federal government not even hearing him. Matter of fact, did they not hear him?
That doesn't.
No. Wait a minute. They took him. They arrested him.
Okay.
They were gonna try him for treason. For treason.
And they chose not to.
It. He said, "Give it, bring it on. Let's do this."
And let me ask you a question: if you're the federal government, you're the prosecutor, and you know by actually convicting this guy, because he was easily going to be convicted, all right, that it would do nothing but. Hold on a second. He was going to be convicted. You know that he was going to be convicted. Everybody knew he was going to be convicted. But at the same time, it's going to sit up there and just continue the rancor of a situation that you're trying to settle down. Or you could release him because he's not a threat anymore. All right. And then show magnanimity. All right. What would you choose?
So what you're saying, the South was going to go into political uprise again? Because
it would not have done anything, all right, to further reconciliation that was absolutely necessary within the American society as a whole.
But we didn't reconcile. We
did reconcile
for another 50 years, dude.
No, you did. You not really. To an extent, yeah. Were there problems that happened and flashpoints that happened? Yeah, but it wasn't the kind of civil war that was going on where people were dying in freaking thousands in mass graves were being dug just to try and put the horses in because there was 50,000 dead horses in a battle. Let alone the men that died.
The way I look at it, Jefferson Davis had an argument.
How you look at it has nothing to do with
He had an argument to make, and they refused to allow him to
because you want to justify your actions. You're not looking
so
at
did he. He wrote a whole book.
Of course, he wanted to justify.
Of
course, he wanted to justify his actions, but he didn't sit up there, all right, and appreciate that of what the situation is. It didn't vindicate him in any way, shape, or form because they chose not to take action against him. This happens a lot in the courts. Just because they choose not to, for example, is Hillary Clinton? Did she not actually do all the crimes that she committed just because James Comey chose not to prosecute?
Well, I think he should have prosecuted. I think that's a whole different can of worms.
And there's a lot of people that think that Jefferson Davis should have been prosecuted. But the reality is that the people at the time showed him. No, because I think that the country needed to heal itself, and you needed to sit up there and start that process.
I think I wanted him to go to court. I think I wanted him to
because you wanted more death and destruction across the country. You're pissed because the South lost and you wanted them to continue the fight. Oh, we could have won if only this, if only that, if only we continue.
So what? The lost cause fallacy? That's where you're going?
That's what you're pushing. That's not my decision. That's yours.
Well, fair enough. I mean, we're buddies. It's all good. What do you think, Doku?
I think more of the issue, this whole thing, if the actual legislator, the actual people involved in government between the North and the South actually sat down and tried to hammer things out, it probably wouldn't have turned out the way it did. I think a few trigger happy emotional people who decided, like, you know what, fuck them. The North is going to screw us over, or on the North side of things, the South is going to screw us over. I think it was a bunch of people who were itching for a fucking fight. They started a fucking fight, and it drug everyone else into the fucking bar brawl with them. No one's innocent in this one. There is a proper process and procedure legally set out for secession, and neither the North nor the South went about it.
Actually, there's not. We do have the 10th Amendment. Any action not granted to the federal government or to the states is granted to the people respectively, which is where you can put secession into.
No, you can't.
Which
put
is the
secession
10th
into
Amendment
that
argument.
because application for a state is in the Constitution, and it does sit up there and specifically go to the legislative branch to determine whether or not someone is in the compact or not. Now, if that's the case, then the power resides within Congress to determine what the status is of a state or not a state. And you never went through that process. Don't attempt to say that you did.
Are you saying when Jefferson Davis went before the Senate and had his speech?
I think that he was sitting there talking out his freaking ass because he was emotional like you and wanted to sit up there and defend, all right, the fact that Mississippi, all right, still wanted slaves.
And you know what? I'm not going to say that Jefferson Davis didn't try to go through the proper process of secession. What I'm going to say is that there was a bunch of people who were itching for a fucking fight and didn't want to wait. And that's what screwed everybody over, because guess what? We're civil until we're not. And that's what fucking happened. It's when certain people decided to fire on Fort Sumter, that was a declaration of war.
And I'll declare war again. I'll double down on it. I'll declare it fucking 3 times over.
Okay,
I don't give a fuck.
Well, then you can't be mad that a war started out over it, because there was a few people who were trigger happy. And a bunch of people got killed over it.
The few people were the ones in the North.
The ones who were trigger happy were the ones who pulled the trigger. You.
Bullshit. Lincoln knew what he was doing.
He knew for a fact that the morons, if I do this, they'll open fire. People that didn't have to open fire, people that didn't have to take action. There was no reason, and this is what Doku is trying to explain to you. What did the South gain by opening fire on Fort Sumter? They gained war. That's what they wanted. What would they have gained? What would they have gained? All right, or what would they have lost if Lincoln stood up there and supplied that fort? Nothing. The situation wouldn't have changed. The fort would have been there. No one would have been dying. No one would have been doing anything. The situation only changed the moment the South opened fire.
Because that's a declaration of war, and that fort at the point in time was under the purview of the United States government. It was no longer property of South Carolina.
May I make a point here? By simply driving your vessel down the river in foreign territory.
It wasn't
you
foreign
already
territory.
Declared war.
You were saying that we're already sovereign, all right, which hasn't happened yet because it hasn't gone through the process.
That's bullshit, because
no,
we're
it
always
is
sovereign.
Not bullshit.
We are sovereign. Oregon right now is a sovereign state. Arizona is a sovereign state.
So we're going to go back down to sovereign
is
citizen.
A sovereign
you don't
state.
have the right, once you sit up there and enter this United States as a state, that in and of itself is not the same kind of compact, all right, as two guys shaking hands. And to keep trying to delegitimize the entire thing by saying that it is nonsensical. You can't just go into statehood and then say, you know what? Well, this isn't working out for us today, so we're going to come out of statehood. That's why it was so serious, and that's why it was so important when the 13 original colonies, all right, decided to go on the Constitution. They made it a requirement that the Constitution only became binding at the moment all of them agreed. And that is that.
Yeah, but
then,
here's the thing.
Because the Constitution itself then becomes the legal document. And part of that legality in the legal document was the fact that Congress has the authorization to whether or not you can admit or not admit a state. In other words, the power of statehood was resolved now to Congress.
Okay, here's the thing, though. Okay.
No, you can say that.
Jefferson Davis
fact.
Jefferson Davis went to the Capitol. He walked in. He said, "My friends, any abuse I have given to you,
it doesn't
I apologize
matter what
for
he
it.
says.
Any abuse you've given to me,
What he says has no legal status.
No. This man was the former vice president.
I don't care who
and
he
the
is.
Secretary of
It doesn't
War.
matter who he was. It doesn't change the document. It does not change the Constitution of the United States. Somebody come back and go, wow, I was the president of the United States. So therefore, I now can sit up there and dictate what is the Constitution and what isn't constitutional.
Are you telling me this wasn't a great man, though? I mean, what
does it have to do with the war between the states? There's a lot.
Okay, let me interject real quick. So, do I have respect for Jefferson Davis and what he did? I do believe that he actually was doing what he thought was right, and I have respect for him for doing that, knowing that it probably could have gotten him assassinated. For that, I have respect.
He's standing in the Capitol and saying, "I am leaving the Union," right there in front of everybody. The balls on this motherfucker. Let's think about this. The balls on this dude.
No, it takes balls to do that. And hold on, let me finish my thought on this one. Because you said exactly what the important part of the argument that no one has talked about. He is a representative of the Union, a compact, these United States, that state that he represents willingly became a part of. So if you want to leave that union, you're also part of that union. You cannot just say, fuck you, I'm leaving because this is what I want to do. Because you know what? If there's not going to be a Jefferson Davis reelected 4 years from now, there's going to be somebody else. You can't allow people to do things on a fucking whim. You are part of the union. You are part of this constitutional republic. And so if you wanted to allow something like that to happen, we would be in a new fucking civil war every freaking 10 to 20 years. Just because somebody new got elected to a state that flipped blue or flipped red, it wouldn't fucking matter. No, there is a fucking process you go through.
Can I speak?
When you let me finish. When you let me finish this thought.
The Tree of Liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants.
Yes,
it is a natural manure, my friend.
Yes, and you know what happened? One person came to Congress, a collection of state representatives, and said, we're leaving the union. Well, guess what? You're one part of a collective union that you chose to join. So, all right, if you say yes and all 49 other people say no, let's just simplify things down. You're one representative of one of the 50 states. 49 people tell you, go fuck yourself, and you say, all right, well, go fuck yourselves too. You're one person who's saying yes. Or let's give you the simple majority. Let's say 27 decide to leave. The other 33 say, or the other 33 say, go fuck yourself. That's how a war starts. And gee, look at what the fuck actually happened.
I don't see the whole point of you guys continually arguing over who's right or wrong with the fucking Civil War, because clearly neither of you are ever going to fucking agree. So this whole argument's an effort in futility as far as I'm concerned. But you know what does stop, does prevent civil wars from happening and refreshing the tree of fucking what that bloody statement, stupid thing was? A royal family. Notice we've never had a civil war.
Well, no, and no, we are gonna go round and round with this argument.
And get nowhere.
Because what it is it's an argument on the Constitution. It's a constitutional argument. And
But
MC and I
never
are
gonna
not
get
going to
anywhere,
see
though.
eye to eye with this.
Yeah,
I
you're not
believe
getting
in the
anywhere.
right of secession. I believe it with my entire being.
Yeah, but my point is, you already know the
Right.
outcome of this
No
discussion.
one's arguing that you can secede. We're arguing there's a proper way to secede and you didn't follow it. Because if you don't follow the process, you break the Constitution. You, as an individual state, do not have the right to break the Constitution at a whim. This is what Doku's been trying to explain to you.
And actually, I'm going to give a little bit of pushback on MC. I do not blame the leaders of the Confederate States. What I blame is still going to be the people who just wanted a war because they didn't want to go through the process. And I can understand why. I think it was stupid, but they're the ones that started the war. It was not the leadership. It was not Jefferson Davis. It was the people who decided, yeah, we're tired of waiting, open fire. Those were the people that started the war because that's what they wanted. They wanted a war. And that's exactly what they got.
Well, no, and we're at about 2 hours, guys. I'm good to keep going if you guys want to. It's all good. But I'm just letting you know. So whenever you guys want to round it out, we will. No, let's move on from the Civil War. You know why the Civil War came up? It came up because it is a reflection of our current environment. I do believe we are headed into a new Civil War. I do believe that the pressure is building up and there's going to be a flashpoint. Where do you think that's going to be?
Well, you know what? It's funny you bring that up because when you guys were talking about platforms, if you're going to run for political office, I have three. I know Dodge had three. I'll tell you my three. The first one, birthright citizenship only applies to people who are born to American citizens. There's number one. I know the Dreamers and the DACA and they'll hate me for it, but I'm sorry, you're not an American citizen if you're not born to parents who are also American citizens. There's point number one. Point number two, we are a sovereign nation. We might be a union of states, but we are a sovereign nation. We have the right to border security. There's point number two. Point number three, any attempt to subvert the United States Constitution outside of an amendment, whether it's through the judiciary, whether it's through the legislative, if it's not an amendment, if it is an attempt to outright subvert the American Constitution without going through the proper process and procedures, should be treated as a felony. And if you're a judge who allows this to happen, you should be disbarred and prevented from practice. So, the Constitution. When you enter into this pact, when you enter into this union of our United States, the Constitution is the law of the land. Any attempt to subvert it in any way, shape, or form will be viewed as and treated as treason, because that's what it is. Thoughts?
No, I was letting you roll on. Farty, what do you got?
Who's Doku calling a thought?
I'm not talking about the Twitch Ahegao face. I'm not talking about Bella Delphine or whatever the hell her name is. I'm not talking about those blue-haired stick my tongue out frickin' whores.
Oh, thoughts.
But
Okay.
yeah, but no.
Yeah, with an H and a G.
No, the thing is, when it comes to politics, man, I don't know. There's a big portion of the population who really don't even give a shit, and they're just voting like it's almost like it's an app and they're just clicking random names. You know what I mean? Like they don't even pay attention. They don't even know what they're doing. And then
Well,
you
they,
have
they treat it
people.
like a popularity contest.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have people like MC, you and I, where we actually look into it and we know why we're voting the way we're voting. And then you have people like my wife. She'll listen to me. I'll sit and talk to her. I'll answer any question, and then she votes her own way. I am not telling her how to vote. I'm not breaking the law, but 9 out of 10 times she's voting with her husband. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's a her thing though.
you guys are lucky in a way because we have compulsory voting out here, and that just means that all the dumb fucks have to have their fucking opinion, and that's where we do usually fuck things up. Not only that, but the fucking immigrants that do come over, and the Labor Party does treat them a hell of a lot better than our normal citizens, which is kind of bloody counterintuitive because, like as the name suggests, the Labor Party, they're the Workers' Party. They're also communist, but they look after immigrants more than they do us people. So these fucking immigrants, they come in, have no idea what the political spectrum is, but the Labor Party gave us all this fucking free shit, so we'll just vote for them. And yeah, at least, you know, the retards who can't fucking figure out how to vote in your country have the option not to vote in the first place.
Oh, why do you think I always bring up if you want to consolidate political power, then bring in a bunch of people and guarantee them the right to vote and promise them free shit. No one's going to vote against their own self-interest.
And that's the thing you got to worry about there with all the people who are screaming to let the immigrants in unvetted, because that's basically the reason why they're doing it.
But here's the thing: some people will vote against their best interests, right? Like,
yeah, very, very few.
I was stuck in the welfare loop for a good 10 years, you know, 5 to 10 years of my life, right? I was stuck in that loop. And then I realized this isn't helping me. This isn't on my side. And so I started to move away from it. And I grew up. You know, I got my shit together, handled my business. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. You're voting for someone who's going to be able to guarantee that your life is going to at least maintain the same level of whatever it is, but it's also going to make it a lot more difficult to break out of that and actually make your standard of living your life better, because now you're working against the grain.
But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, I was looking at free money. No.
Well, yeah, it's a cheap and easy sell.
I want to move on. I want to get out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you want to make your life better.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're an outlier. For a lot of people who don't pay attention to this, who, let's be honest, most people aren't like you or me or MC or Farty or anybody else, where they don't really look at this. They just see someone like, okay, I can make your life easier by giving you free stuff. Let's ignore the fact that I'm going to raise taxes. Even if we raise the minimum wage, it's going to make it more difficult to find, you know, a good job where you're going to be making, you know, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. Just be happy with $40,000. By the way, we're going to tax you above $29,000. Bernie Sanders' numbers, not mine. And hey, you'll have a nice, easy life that you don't have to worry about. You just got to go to work and vote the way that. You know, don't vote against your own self-interest, because just be happy making $29,000 a year. And there you go. You have all your free government stuff. You don't have to worry, pat you on your simple little head and send you on your way. That is the antithesis, in my opinion. That is the antithesis of freedom, because what you're doing is you're robbing other people of freedom, giving them the guarantee that big daddy, big mama, big papa, they're going to come in and take care of you. Screw that. You know what? I actually do kind of want to be a millionaire or a billionaire one day if I decide to work hard enough for it. And I want as little things as possible in my way to prevent me from actually trying to achieve that goal. And you know what's standing in my way? Government and socialist Bernie bros. That's in my way of trying to achieve that dream. I am more than willing to work my ass off, take all the hits, all the licks, all the fucking punches, bleed my blood, sweat, and tears, do all of that, if it means, you know what? Maybe I can afford a summer cabin on Lake Champlain that's worth $600,000. But I don't want to do it on the taxpayer dime because I'm not a leech and I still have some self-respect, which is more than I can say about fucking Bernie.
That's what Cortez was trying to do too, wasn't it? Free healthcare for everyone. I'll just tax the fuck out of the 1%. That'll work.
Well, no, and all right. So I got about 15 minutes left in me, only because I got the new computer today. My wife is about 5 minutes out, which means I get to
Watch Pornhub.
swap over the info from one hard drive to the other, and then hook up the new computer. So I'm kind of psyched. So any last thoughts, guys? Because yeah, I got some shit to be doing tonight.
All right, well, my only last thought, Bobby, if I ever become a trillionaire, I'll go ahead and buy you a $1 million fucking house, and I'll toss you an extra million, and I'll put $500,000 of it into cash deposits, and the other $500,000 I'll put into a mix of government and corporate bonds so that you can pay the taxes on the property. And boom, there you go. That's a free house, and it barely even makes a dent in my wallet, which is more than I can say for fucking Mr. Breadline Bernie Sanders himself.
Where's my house?
Okay, I'll give you one too. I'll give all of you a frickin' house worth $1 million, and it still won't make a dent in my wallet.
Get a house.
Yeah, I'll go full Oprah Winfrey on this bitch. Let's see, $1 million bucks. That means I can give all of you 1 billion houses. 1 billion people want $1 million houses. I can give you all houses.
Don't make promises.
Well, I got to become a trillionaire.
My house now. I'm rubbing my hands together and everything.
They give them all free houses, but you still got to pay the stamp duty.
Yeah,
Hey, help me become a trillionaire.
When that happens, the $1 million house that he gives you is going to be like a hayloft. Because that's what it'll be worth. Oh yeah, we got this little condo over here. You got the small little one under the stairwell.
Yeah, no.
And I see Jesse in the chat as well. What's up, dude?
Yeah, no, Jesse, that sucks. We're just now wrapping it up, brother. But hit me up if you want to play some PS4 later, dude. I did download the Friday the 13th game, so hit me up, man.
Dodge, I gotta ask you: are you gonna be able to host, or are we gonna call that off until next week?
Oh, I could probably still host, dude. My wife's gonna be home in about 10 minutes. I want to check out this new computer. I've been just waiting. You know what I mean? It's sitting on the table behind me, and I'm just like looking at it. Like, I reach over and pet it every couple minutes. All
right, just let me know on the back end, man, because I need to know it is Saturday.
Well, speaking of calling things off, spoke to Frank Shandor earlier, and he's not feeling too well tonight. So, Rotten Tomatoes drinking game is most likely going to be next week. So, Doku, you get the night off.
No, that's what we were talking about. I'm the new host. Yeah, because I totally know how to do this. Yeah, that drinking game's totally up my alley. We'll figure it out.
I just need you to stream host, man. If you can do it,
I can do it.
Why don't you have Farty? Why don't you have Farty at? He'll be happy to do it with you.
Oh, it's Frank.
I
Farty.
might actually want Farty to handle it, but
all right, Farty, I'm going to talk to you on the back end then.
Yep.
How about 9 p.m.? 1 hour.
All right. Well, everyone, Farty, we're doing this live, so are you able to do it, Farty? Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay, if you can stream host for us, then I'll take over the talkie bullshit. If you can stream host, then ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join in on the Rotten Tomatoes drinking game on Exiled Opinions, that'll be happening in the next 55 minutes at 11:05 Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it doesn't matter. We always have fun.
Hang on. Does Frank need to link me through fucking
yeah,
StreamYards?
we're gonna have to log off here, and you're gonna have to get a hold of Frank and get that info. Yeah, I'm in the brand, but you're not. So, hey, everybody, thank you very much. It's been the Redeye Stream. We're right back at you. We're going to come back in about an hour with Exiled Opinions. Hey, they're in the fold now. That's what's up. I'm going to be hosting, well, I guess Farty's going to be hosting tonight. I'm going to be there. So is Doku. I'm not sure about MC. But hey, let's go ahead and talk about, man, have you seen The Expanse? Let's talk about The Expanse, dude. Let's talk about something good for once.
I haven't seen The Expanse, unfortunately.
Oh, we'll figure it out off air and it'll be a surprise.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good luck. Don't go to France without a yellow vest. We're out of here.
Good night, everyone.